I've been feeling a bit left behind. I've noticed these gaps in my skill set and I need a safe space to fill them up. And so at the end of last year, I've decided to start a new studio, Cybernetks. In this video, I'll explain what Cybernetks is, what its goal is, and what goal I made for itself, the rules I've set up, and what building in public means for me. Let's get started. Hey, my name is Kenneth. I'm a freelance consultant in the web development field for over 10 years now. And before that, I did some agency work. But when I started out as a consultant, I noticed the market was very straightforward. A company was always looking for profiles with deep specialization. For me personally, that meant a PHP role, if possible with the Symfony framework as expertise. But over the last few years, or during those 10 years, I've noticed the market shifted to being more about full stack developers. Now, I'm the kind of consultant that likes to take on long-term projects. I really like to sink my teeth into a project and know that I've made a difference in the long run. And in that regard, I've been a bit lucky. I was hired by my current client as that, deep specialization part as a PHP developer. But I have to be honest, I love learning. I love doing more, knowing about more in the field, being able to contribute more to the field. And so I've decided that it is time to move from just being a PHP developer to more, being maybe not full stack, but at least be more like an expert generalist. But experimenting on client work is not the safest thing to do. At least I don't feel safe doing that. And so at the end of last year, I've decided to build and design a new studio, a bit of a side project in my company. And so Cybernetks was born. And Cybernetks is a solo studio, so it's going to be just me to build tools, software, and in the future games, because I also like to delve into that a little bit, that either support people, entertain people in case of a game, but also that helps me build more skill sets. And my goal for 2026 is to have Cybernetks be a self-sustaining company. Now, with self-sustaining, I don't mean it needs to replace my income from my consultancy. I'll still be doing consultancy. I love doing consultancy. But what I mean is each and every project should stand on its own 2 feet. And that's why I have made up some rules. Every project, every experiment that I do needs to fund itself, meaning it needs to pay for its own domain, hosting, tooling, if ever. So that's one of the first rules. The other is I need to learn something from it. It needs to be useful, either for me to learn something, which most often will be the case, or it needs to be part of the ecosystem of Cybernetks, like a tool that helps me develop other things within Cybernetks. Another rule that I have is it should never interfere with life. It should not take time away from my family. I'm a father of 3, so it gets quite chaotic, quite hectic. It should never take time away from my family. It should not take away time from my health, or it should not impact my health, which is why I wanted to be self-sustaining. And it needs to motivate me. As soon as a project does not motivate me anymore and it just doesn't work for the other rules, I'll sunset it. And that goes for any and all projects that do not meet at least one of those rules. Now, the one about my family is sacred. Nothing should interfere with that one. But I realized that the first rule, it should be self-sustaining in the sense that it funds itself. makes it a bit more difficult to start projects. And so I've made a little bit of an exception. I call it a runway period, where everything that is needed to start up the project and bring it to a first usable product, let's say the minimum viable product or experiment, will be funded by the company. So think domain, hosting, infrastructure, licensing. If I ever start iOS, I would need an Apple developer license. All of that would be paid as a startup period by the company, but still with the hope that within, depending on the size of what I'm doing, within a certain period, it should be self-sustaining. It should fund itself. And with all of those rules, I'm hoping that the studio effectively will help me build experiments and build projects, basically, in those, or touching the gaps in my skill set. For example, if you build a project, let's say I would build a software as a service. It's like the most extreme example, but it touches on everything. So I would have to build a backend. That's fine. I know my Symfony. But for example, I could also say I'm going to start using Laravel, which is super popular these days. But it will give me the runway to do that without impacting a client. They don't have to wait for me to learn Laravel or to experiment with things, or if I make a design decision that isn't actually the best practice, I can still move it later without impacting any of my clients. And so I'm also touching front end, which means I can choose between Vue or React or something else as a front end. And then of course I will need to set up the production instance as well. And so with an experiment like that, building software as a service, I would be touching on most of the gaps in my skill set. And it also gives me the opportunity to expand the knowledge I already have. I could go deeper into certain things I haven't touched yet because my client doesn't need it, for example. And so the main goal of Cybernetks is that building those skill sets while also building useful tools and all of that. Another part of the project or of the studio is that I want to build it in public. And so I've already set up a website, cybernetks.be, on which I log, as I like to call them, the logs, my findings, my thoughts, my progress, any and all things related to either the studio itself, the experiments, the projects, or development as a whole. And to share those learnings, not just even the learnings, more of it, like how do I tackle certain things within the studio. And in that regard, I'm hoping to build this community. There's also already a Discord, a community of like-minded people that also want to either start their own studio or that are building projects already. A place where we can like talk and discuss things and help each other out. Besides that, there's also YouTube that I'm filming right now, which is also a bit of a challenge. I haven't been in front of a camera for a long time. I used to do public speaking and do workshops. I did those at conferences, meetups. And so I've kind of lost that little touch of being, in public, and I want to expand more on that. But I also want to give people a different format to follow along. So if you do not like reading logs, you can listen to videos or you can watch videos. Maybe in the future I'll even add tutorials or other items like that. And one of the other things I want to do is stream on Twitch. I want to create a space where I can go live while I build stuff, get live feedback on what I'm doing, brainstorming with other people, and kind of create this environment where it's safe to build stuff, to fail, to show that it's okay to fail as well, and to encourage more people like this to fail, and to just work and build stuff and have fun in web development and other items. Because like I said before, I might also dabble around in games and build games in Godot. And so that's what I want to build. But it's all very scary. And like I said, I have 3 kids, a lot going on. So I did not set up a content schedule. You'll have to forgive me for that. I do not want to add even more pressure. But knowing myself, I'll probably record more videos pretty soon, and I'll go live on Twitch a lot more than you would suspect, or that I would give myself credit for, because it's just something that I also want to do. I want to be live. I want to be around more people and in that community set. And I'll hope you'll join me. I'll put links down below in the description. And what this video also should show, and same for the studio, nothing is perfect. We're all humans. We make mistakes. We trip over our words. We say things that might be false, and we correct them. And that's also something I want to show. Like it's an open space. Everything goes. It's a weird way of saying it, but we're open to experimenting and to failing and to getting back up. And that is hopefully the kind of community that I can build with this, while of course filling those gaps and focusing still on the main goal to be a more well-rounded developer. And I'll hope you'll join me. If you like this video, if you have tips, feedback, anything else, feel free to hit the comment section. I'll be keeping my eye on it as well. And I'll catch you in the next vlog.